Hello and welcome to another edition of Sunday Night Soccer. I'm here with my man Mike D, the Soccer Rebellion, coming to you here on Straight from the Training Ground. You had a good week of vacation. You look refreshed.
Thank you, man. Yeah, we were in Clearwater, Florida. We got an Airbnb, and you know what the best part was? We didn't do anything. We didn't plan anything.
That's
So we
even
just
better.
got to wake up every morning and be like, what are we gonna do? I don't know. Like I did work and I vacationed. So when I worked, we had this nice pool in the backyard that was fenced in, or not fenced in, but netted in or something.
Yeah,
I don't know, because
screen.
Florida's got weird
Yeah,
screened. So it was just I was out there and we had a TV outside. Yankees played against Detroit at 1 o'clock every day, so I got to do that, sit by the pool.
nice.
But at nighttime, you heard a lot of different wild animals that I've never heard before, so I didn't like all that.
Yeah,
That was a little different. And I've heard about the alligators eating dogs, so I was like, all right, what am I getting into? I'm glad I'm fenced in. But
nice.
how are you?
Yeah,
How was your week, man? It was your first week back from vacation.
Yeah, back at it. You know, games getting scheduled, rescheduled, rain everywhere. It's been crazy. So back at it. But we got a lot to talk about. Some Champions League updates, some U.S. women updates, some Gold Cup updates. So we'll get straight to it here real quick. So this week, Champions League quarterfinals. They played the first leg. If you don't know what we're talking about, that's the first round. We'll go through those results here in a second. Then they're going to play each other again this week and add up the score. Liverpool, there you go. And your boy Mo Salah, they are closing in on the league in the Premier League. We'll get to that. The U.S. men's national team, they are in with Trinidad and Tobago, Saudi Arabia, and Haiti in the Gold Cup. That will be their group for the men's team. United versus Chelsea women's teams are in the FA Cup final. So we got some women's soccer in there. And El Clasico, Real Madrid and Barcelona are going to be in the Spanish Cup final, I believe, in 2 weeks. And the March Madness champion. I just want to throw that in there. Who won the March Madness bracket?
You did, Jay, and you did a great job picking those teams. I know you spent a lot of time calculating statistics and making sure that your bracket was the best of your ability. And my man, you
very
did
analytical. It was very analytical. Yes. But hey, we'll take it. Can't wait for the big check presentation. I'm sure we'll probably get that on the podcast here soon. So, without further ado, real quick run through here. We got some results from the first leg.
Ben Rice. Is it that right?
Declan.
Who's Ben Rice? I don't know who the hell that is, but Declan Rice.
My
dude.
Not one, but two.
Dude, that one that he had that bent. Probably, that's right up there with the Roberto Carlos.
Yeah, it was good. So if you don't know, look him up. He had two great free kicks in that game. He scored goals. Arsenal beat Real Madrid 3-0. Two great free kicks from Declan Rice for Arsenal. Inter Milan beat Bayern Munich 2-1. Barcelona beat Dortmund 4-0. And PSG beat Aston Villa 3-1. So
that's my pick, by the way, for the Champions League.
PSG? All right.
I like the way they play. They're not glorious, but the way they manage the game, I think, is better than anyone else in the tournament right now.
All right, you heard it here first, folks. So they'll add up the scores. They play each other again this Tuesday and Wednesday, and then that will give us the final four for the Champions League. Semifinals will be set. Going off to the Premier League, I'll let you take it from here, my man.
So we have Liverpool. They just had a game today. Mo Salah looked fantastic. If you're not watching him, the way that he can control the ball from anything that's over top and through at a pace, this is what separates him. On that right side with the left foot, he's extremely dominant. And they're a hard one to stop. You watch them play and the way they press, even it's suffocating. So Liverpool is closing in, like Jay said earlier in the show, with 76 points. They're in the lead. 32 games played, 23 wins. Is that 7 draws and 2 losses?
Yeah, they've only lost 2 games. They need to win 2 out of their last 6 games to wrap up the league. So and they've only lost 2 the whole season.
They look fantastic. And then Arsenal, which is an interesting story. My brother, Backroom Eric over here, 17 games won, 12 draws. So points that they're supposed to be getting. Arsenal just doesn't seem to be able to close the door a little bit. They're in second place with 63 points. So Nothing seems to be looking like it's going to shape up there. You have Nottingham Forest, the great story of the season, in my opinion, in third place with 57 points. Newcastle, which had a game today against Man City. I don't know the result. They won today.
United. They beat Man United. Yes,
today, which is another. That's a conundrum. I don't know how to describe Man United, and then Man City just seemed to be playing without passion. I'll say that much. In fifth place with 55, and then Chelsea and Aston Villa in sixth and seventh place with 54 points. So that fifth spot and that fourth spot, the fourth and third spot still pretty much open. And again, remember that first through fourth comes with money, and then also comes with an entry into the Champions League next year. So the end of months of the EPL, a lot of exciting soccer to be played.
So moving on to Italy, Serie A.
Serie A, Inter Milan. They've had some struggles as of late, but they had a victory this weekend, and they still at the top with 71 points. Napoli with 65 points. And then Atalanta, which used to be a lot higher than what they are, but they've been struggled as of lately. They are in third place with 61. Juventus making a strong comeback with 59 points. And then Bologna in fifth place with 57 points, and Lazio in sixth place with 55. So still, again, another tight race for that fourth, even third spot. In Serie A.
La Liga, Spain.
La Liga. Barcelona finally creating some separation from Real Madrid. It's been a tight race for pretty much the whole entire season. And Barcelona is finally creating some separation with 70 points in first place. Real Madrid was 66 points. Atletico Madrid was 60. Athletic Club with 54. Villarreal with 51. And Real Betis with 48. In one of those leagues, again, La Liga, where you see the top two, maybe three, and then just seems to fall off from there in La Liga. But still, it's a very fast-paced, a lot of talent at the top two teams. A lot of people would say that Barcelona and Real Madrid for the longest time had the best talent in the past 2 decades. But things are shifting a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. On to Germany, the Bundesliga.
In the Bundesliga, Bayern Munich. Oh, man, that was a game, actually, I was watching, and they played Dortmund with a tie this weekend, which is another great game. Looked like ping pong. So a lot of back and forth, a lot of momentum switches. Bayern Munich was on the front foot for a while in that game, but Dortmund found a way to knock on that door and put that ball with some slap balls in the middle of the box and create some chances, and they would switch momentum. So it was a very good game. I'd like to see Dortmund starting to rally and come back and climb back up, because for the longest time they weren't even in the top 10. But they seem like they're making some wave. They have 2 wins and a draw in the past 3 games. So Bayern Munich still in the top with 69 points. But Leverkusen, look out. They have 3 wins and a draw in their past 4 games. Eintracht Frankfurt, right? Did I say that right?
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Yes, sir. Yep.
They are in third place with 51. So the discrepancy is first and second, 69 and 63. And then Eintracht Frankfurt with 51. And then it goes to RB Leipzig with 48. And it kind of falls off from there. But Bayern Munich, no surprise there. And then now to the domestic league, the MLS, something that we're trying to get into. And so we're learning together while we're watching the MLS. MLS, do a better job. Talk to us more. This is a big topic of conversation while we continue to mull over what's going on in American soccer. Damn! I'm right. Okay, so pick it up. So Charlotte, now in first place in the East with 16 points. Cincinnati in second place with 16 points, meaning Inter Miami and Philadelphia have fallen off a little bit, because Philadelphia and Miami were first and 2 spots for the beginning of the league, and Columbus staying steady at that third space, or that third place. And then Nashville is also with 13 points, tied for 5th place. And then over on the west side, Vancouver. You know what? Let's go back to the east side. Chicago fell off. Wow. They were in that third, 4th spot for a minute.
Staggered a little bit. Yeah,
they fell. Red Bull climbed. Chicago fell. It's early yet, right? I would say a little bit the MLS, you're like in baseball season a little bit, where you can't really take too much of this until about June.
Yeah.
So Vancouver the surprise team of the season. Right now with 19 points, 4-point favorites over Minnesota with 15 points. And then San Diego FC, the expansion team, in third place, still holding strong with 14 points. And then Colorado's tied with them in fourth place with 14 points. And you have Austin FC in fifth place with 13, and then LAFC with 12. Austin FC, for those who don't know, is all right, Matthew McConaughey's team. So just to give you a little bit of that. But yeah, the MLS, we're going to try to get more into. I was actually talking to Eric and learning Spanish, learning Spanish. We're going to spend some time learning more in the MLS, and so we can learn some of the players that are going on domestically. And Jay, I just want to make a note. I do want to add the women's league in this as well.
Yeah, NWSL.
Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely. News alert will be NWSL.
There you go.
MLS. There you go. Love it.
I like
Love
that.
it.
Done.
So, moving on, there's your league tables. As we said, domestic leagues are all back in action now. We have some Americans abroad, a little bit of news to report. The U.S. women's, we alluded to at the beginning tonight, Manchester United versus Chelsea will be the FA Cup women's final. That's all set. Tullis Jose, the goalkeeper, is the Manchester United goalkeeper. She's American. Will be facing off against Macario and Girma. Girma, I believe, is out right now, but two American women on Chelsea. So that's a kind of a key matchup there. We worked the women's team into that part for you, Mike D. Carter Vickers scores a stunner for Celtic. Possible foreshadowing. Ooh, Chris Richards scored a goal.
Banger.
You mentioned the Man City game. City were actually down 2-0. Crystal Palace were flying, and then City came back and won 5-2. So Chris Richards did score, though, against them. And Gio Reyna played 22 minutes against Arsenal in the Champions League midweek. And we also add a little graphic there for you. I want to show you the new U.S. women's team kit is out. What are your thoughts, Mike D?
I dig it, actually. That's the best one they've come out with in a while. That goes back to that, Alexi Lalas looking jersey.
Yeah, the horrible one from back then. They've kind of made it retro, but cool. Yeah.
And that was an Adidas jersey. That's funny that Nike did that.
Yeah.
By the way, what the hell do you mean Gio Reyna played against Arsenal in Champions League? Gio Reyna plays for when was this? Arsenal just played Real Madrid.
Oh yes, I may have gotten that wrong, but he did play. Yeah. I don't know. The biggest news of the week is that he has been given basically his walking papers from Borussia Dortmund, and they have said he is allowed to be looking elsewhere this summer. So
ignore that last bullet point. I don't know what the hell that is.
Yeah, our research team, you get what you pay for. So moving on. We all know how that goes. That will be moved into the part of Aurores.
Please, no!
We apologize. All right, moving on to some statistics around the top 5 leagues in Europe. Your boy Mo Salah just continues to have an unbelievable pace. He's still leading in goals. Robert Lewandowski right behind him. Harry Kane, Redigue, Mbappe. Erling Haaland is out for a while, though, now. Dembele. Marmoush continues to play well for City. Isak for Newcastle, and Chris Wood. Again, Mo Salah leading Europe in goals and in assists. 18 assists. Lamine Yamal, the youngster for Barcelona, right behind him, though, with 13 in second place. Elise with 13. Bukayo Saka, who is back for Arsenal, with 11. Marmoush still in there. Rafinha from Barcelona. And then Savinho rounds out the top 10. I believe Pulisic is on 10, but he fell out, somewhere in there. I don't know. Alphabetical order, tiebreaker. He didn't make the list when we put together the graphics, so we apologize.
Well, he did tie his career assist total.
Yeah,
this last week. So yeah, congrats to Pulisic.
Yeah, still doing well, absolutely. And then clean sheets, Galaxy still in the lead with 18, Cells 13, Oblak 13, De Gregorio Summer, Sivlar with 11, Ramiro rounds out the 10 there with David Reyes. So Galaxy still in the lead there. Looks like he's running away with it. But story there to be taken away from all of that is, once again, Mo Salah just having an unbelievable season.
So stay on this page for a second. So one thing I do want to mention, what's good about the goals, right? Mo Salah plays for EPL. Robert Lewandowski plays for La Liga, and then Harry Kane plays for Bundesliga. So he plays for Harry Kane. Yeah, it's spread out. I think that's actually pretty nice.
Yeah, yeah. I'm glad they worked that out for you.
Yeah, that's what they did. They did it for Sunday Night Soccer. But it's funny, man. I'm not a fan of Harry Kane. I'm just not. He pisses me off. The way he talks pisses me off even more. But Harry Kane, I was watching the Bayern Munich game against Dortmund. He's not the fastest guy, right? He's kind of a lanky guy, but he positions himself so well in his pockets in the 18 and as a big guy. That's probably a lot harder than what people are thinking. That's a lot of intelligence. That's a lot of anticipation. And it's a great way to use your body in certain angles, like the way that he's able to manipulate to create space. That's where length in soccer and having a tall 9 comes into play, because you're able to create that separation with a large step and able to shield yourself while you're taking that shot.
He's kind of the Tom Brady of forwards.
Yeah, yes, that's a great. You know what? I agree with that. I do agree with that. Right?
He would not score well at the combine. He wouldn't score well at the combine.
Yeah, right. Exactly right.
But he scores goals.
But anyway, he didn't make the goal. But what he did is he one-touched it down, looked up, looked down with 2 guys in traffic, held off one guy and smacked it like clear center of the ball. Like, unless you're a soccer player, you might not notice it. But the ball was spinning away from the keeper, and this was probably about 17 yards out. And it was just like one of those moments where you're just like, damn, like, as much as I don't like you, man, like, that's elite. Like, that's elite. Yeah. And then I'm watching Mo Salah play. Yes, is it today? I think it was today. And he has a ball come over his shoulder twice in the game, right on his foot, and then go 1v1, like sprints out of a one touch over the shoulder, like he's Kenny Lofton catching the ball. And then he just goes and he puts it on his left, gets it and gets a shot off. The shot wasn't the greatest. And he actually got the assist today with the outside of his foot on his left across 2 defenders to the far post, where a guy just has to tap it in. If you're watching Mo Salah play, okay, Jay, let me ask you a question. What American athlete would you compare him to, Mo Salah?
Oh, like I'm thinking like a Ja Morant, skillful basketball player, something like that.
Yeah, someone that just has crazy handle. That's just, he's super quick, and you're just like, what? Yeah, I agree. I would say Saquon Barkley. I would say Ja Morant, Kyrie Irving. Like, yes, that's he's just he's an athlete that's just, you watch him play, you're like, all right, you don't make sense.
And for all of you at home watching, if you had Kenny Lofton on your Sunday Night Soccer bingo card, you just won.
You know, Kenny Lofton. He was one of my favorite players. Him and Ken Griffey, non-Yankees, that I loved.
Yeah, absolutely. Kenny Lofton
did come to the Yankees eventually, though.
Look at that. Yeah. All right. Let's get into our first topic here. Coaching. We're going to talk about dealing with referees, how to deal with referees. Obviously, referees, very touchy subject in all sports. We both coach a lot, so I'll let you lead the way. But before we get in that, Mike D, we do have our first comment real quick from Dre.
What up, Dre?
Chicago ahead of NYC. I don't hate.
Okay. Hey, he's from Chicago. I'm from New York.
He's representing.
Right. He's got every right to talk to me. You know,
absolutely, right. Absolutely.
You know, Chicago was higher on the leaderboard, Dre. So now that they fell off, like, is that a thing that things that come? Kind of like your quarterback situation, like you're supposed to go to the playoffs.
Shots fired. Oh,
how we doing?
All right, so back to referees. Mike D, I'll let you have the table here for the floor, not the table. For a minute.
The table and the floor, it doesn't matter.
Referees, what are your thoughts?
All right, so before we get into this, please hit that like and subscribe button. We are over 100,000 followers right now. Jay has done a great job of building this, and it helps us build a stronger network for us to be able to get more sponsorships, which helps us pay for more equitable soccer situations. So Jay right now is in Columbus having an after-school program that's based on not just playing soccer, but also some mental components. So making sure you're creating some good habits and becoming a full-rounded human being. So please hit
the Soccer Neighborhood.
Yes, the Soccer Neighborhood. Follow us on Instagram at the Soccer Rebellion and tune into what we have going on, because we are trying to collaborate with people that are interested in soccer and make the game more accessible and equitable for everybody. So moving on to dealing with refs. So if you are a coach, how hard is it to bite your tongue in the game? You know it.
Yeah.
You know it. You know how hard it is in the moment when you see an 18-year-old ref or a 19-year-old ref that's getting his footing. We don't create enough of a pathway, in my opinion, to allow these coaches or these refs to learn. And if you have experience in coaching, there's moments in the game where you recognize a missed call is a complete momentum shift. And it happens almost every game. So many times. So how do you deal with referees? So I'm going to tell you my learning curve. First of all, the way that I coach, I'm extremely passionate, right? If I were to kind of distinguish my coaching mentality, I'm going to get the most out of my players, right? I'm going to get them hype. I'm going to keep it positive for the most part. That's one thing I definitely learned is trying to keep it positive remarks, because you are making individual decisions, me getting down on you and talking about your mistakes. If they're anything like I was as a player, that mistake is already in your head. So I don't need to keep, I got to be the ones that say, hey, be a goldfish, 7 seconds, it's gone, move on.
Yeah.
You can't control the past. But I'm passionate. I'm very energetic. Like get them going, like match my energy. If your energy isn't matching my energy on the sideline, right? So, but that doesn't always bode well when it comes to referees. When my energy is that loud, like it's hard to make that distinguishment from being a competitor against the players and then a competitor against the refs. And when you have players with high soccer IQ that make missed calls, it's a very difficult thing to deal with. And so in my experience, the worst thing to do is to get on the ref. Why? Because they're human.
Yeah.
And they're not going to want to agree with me if I'm sitting there calling them dog shit. They're not going to want to be on my side. They're going to look at things a little bit more jaded, and rightfully so. I mean, it's just human nature. I can't disagree with it.
Can I just throw this in real quick?
Yeah, go ahead, man.
Real quick. So we were at a tournament this weekend. We played yesterday at 6:30 at night, 6:30 p.m.
Yeah.
And, you and I've done this for a long time. I asked the guy that was ref and how many games he'd done. He had been there since 8 o'clock in the morning.
That's crazy.
12-hour day refereeing. So
that's
the guy's
crazy.
Exhausted. He's tired. He's been doing it all day, and they're going to make mistakes anyways, even if it's their first game. So just want to throw that out there. And as well as I do, it happens all the time.
Tournament coaching. I mean, refs. That's what I'm saying. We talked about that before. I have so much empathy.
Yeah.
For refs in tournaments, because typically to make more money, right? You're not paying multiple refs.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So. Maybe you do this many hours, whatever it is. But anyway, coaches, and think of this. Jay, let me say this. What's the most amount of games you've coached in a day?
In a day? Oh, yeah. I'd say 3 or 4. Like if you're coaching 2 teams.
I've coached 6.
Okay.
I had 3 teams in a tournament.
Yeah.
And all I can say is I had a pounding headache and I couldn't see at the end of it. I swear to God, because that amount of focus, right? If you're a coach that's super into what you're doing and trying to energize and motivate and looking at all the pieces that you have influence on, like there's a lot of energy, there's a lot of focus going into it. So anyway, going back to having empathy, that's great. And that does go into my point in how you want to deal with referees. So in my opinion, before the game, make a point of making an introduction and being personal, acknowledging that you're both human, trying to create the best atmosphere possible for players, and somehow have that discussion.
Yeah.
And make an effort to be on the same page as the referee, because at the end of the day, it is between the refs and the coaches that have the biggest influence on the atmosphere. They have the most leadership. And I would say the ref has a little bit more control and manners in how they call things. But the responses to things going wrong is a great lesson of adversity on how to deal with things that don't go your way. And as coaches, we are so much more responsible than just teaching the game.
Absolutely. Well said. And that's important, I think, for any age group. Doesn't matter what age group you're coaching, that we have to understand those things. Doesn't mean you always agree, but you have to do it with respect. And like you said, I think it starts out with a little bit of a relationship. And, you have to be open and you have to be understanding, I guess. But I think, like you said, communication is the key. And, we need more people to ref. Let's just be honest. We need more younger people, in my opinion, who have played now, who have grown up playing the game to referee. So some great points there. Couldn't have said it better myself. I agree with you, Mike D.
So let me hold on. I don't want to finish there because there's one other point that I make. There's also gamesmanship when it comes to ref. So if you want to have influence, and this is where I think this is completely our jurisdiction as coaches, if a ref isn't noticing something, you start seeing a player that's making a consistent foul that they're not noticing. There's a timely manner and there is something to consistently pointing it out, but the way you point it out is everything. If it starts to look like whining and it starts to look like
confrontational,
they're not going to hear you. You got to think about interpersonal relationships and communication. Like this is where communication skills as a coach really comes into play. And figure out how to get their attention properly. And I find I make friends with the AR. Running up and down my sideline. First of all, because I'm ADHD, and this dude's going to tell me to move back 500 times during a game. Step away from the sideline. I'm like, dude, I'm so sorry. And make sure I'm always apologetic, especially because I got broad shoulders. And if this guy wants, dude, there are ARs that will run into you.
Oh, yeah.
My God. For those guys to get paid what they get paid and to take that upon themselves, I have mad respect. But God, that is a different level. That is a different level of loyalty to your job.
Yeah, I agree.
But anyway, so the AR can have that conversation. And they're more, I think, privy to have that because they're also finding where their value comes into the game a little bit more. And so if they're seeing it how you're seeing it and you guys also have the same kind of vantage point, you have more of a chance to making that influence. So that's just my tidbit.
Yeah, another comment here from Dre says coaching AAU travel is different from coaching middle school and high school. Officials understand that it's for coaches to adjust.
Elaborate on that, Dre. Officials understand that it's for coaches to adjust. So they're saying that you're putting more ownership on the coaches, which is,
I guess.
Is that what he's saying there? I want to see what Dre has to say to that.
Not sure. All right, we'll come back to that. So
yeah, Dre, please leave it in your comments, and we'll run back to it. Let's move on.
So next, the big issue this week. There's been a lot of talk. MLS had some meetings this week. We weren't invited. I don't know why, Mike D. Must have been because you're on vacation, but we weren't invited. But they had some important meetings. The hot topic of the week in soccer news was the MLS calendar. If you're not sure what that is or what we're talking about, the MLS is kind of on the opposite calendar around the world in terms of soccer. You can see on that graphic there on the left, the current MLS schedules has been, ever since the MLS started, they've went kind of like what we would consider a baseball season. They've moved it back a little bit now. It starts in the middle or end of February and it ends around the very beginning of December. Runs through the summer, basically. But that's about the opposite of soccer in Europe and most of the other countries around the world. They proposed to, or, there's been a lot of talk that they would move to the European calendar to help with transfer windows, like we've talked about a little bit before, so that we'd always be on the same page. It would also give a little bit of a winter break. In Germany and some countries like that, they do have a little bit of a winter break due to weather. And then this would allow the end of the season to be around May 1st, beginning of May. They'd have the final around the end of May or June 1st. So the MLS met on this, Mike D, and essentially they talked about it. Sounds like they put a lot of considerable thought into it, but they have basically tabled it because a lot of people were thinking that they would pass this and start it the year after the World Cup. So after the big hype of the World Cup of 2026, they would start this new calendar. But they basically have tabled it, and they've said that they didn't vote it down. But as of right now, it will not start until at least 2027, and that's if they decide to do it. What are your thoughts?
So you remember originally we talked about it made sense for the MLS
Yeah.
to play in the off months, right? From football and basketball
But yeah.
and hockey.
Not to compete.
Does being in the same season make us more globally recognized? Does it put our stats, like, look at what we just talked about with stats, right?
Yeah.
We compared Bundesliga, we compared EPL, we compare La Liga.
Correct.
3 different leagues. Just playing in the same time frame, all of a sudden, give MLS a nod and give us some bragging rights.
Respect. Yeah, respect. Yeah. I personally think so. We've talked about this a little bit before. And I understand, I don't know your thoughts, but I understand that back in the day, Mike D, they started this because it was like you just said, not to compete. You know, you're starting up a new league. You don't want to compete with the NFL. You don't want to compete with college football, even basketball in the winter. But now, you know, I think MLS is in a place where I don't think it's going to go away. It's a pretty substantial league. And I think that this would help not only from a business standpoint, but like, you know, what you said, statistics and kind of just being on the same page and putting things on the same level, so to speak, in terms of when people around the world are talking about soccer. You know, right now it's kind of still in this different area. It's like this different kind of thing because it's not in the same season. And you know, one of the biggest problems I didn't mention there is scheduling. And a lot of people in the places like Minnesota, you know, and you know, Real Salt Lake, they're talking, you know, how would you schedule the games? New York, maybe in the winter. But again, here's my thing to that. Two things. Number one, people show up to Buffalo Bills games, right? Even if they have to shovel the snow off their seat, you know, right? They still show up to the games. Now, obviously, you can't play soccer in a foot of snow, but aside from that, I think people would still show up to games. There might be a break in January or something like that, but I think it would still work. And second of all, whenever we play South American teams or, you know, whenever we play Mexico, where do we always schedule it over the winter? We always schedule those qualifiers in cold cities on purpose, so it gives us an advantage. So we do that, and we've shown that it's possible. But yet, when it comes to MLS, they use it as an excuse and say they don't think it will work. Just my thoughts.
I'm 100% with you. If they're going to football games, they can go to soccer games, and there's a grit component to it. I do think that's probably why they're waiting, is some conflict with big markets and stadiums. Like if you're thinking about big market stadiums, like for instance, you have NYCFC playing at Yankee Stadium.
Yeah.
Are they not shutting down in the winter to make sure that everything is good to go when it comes to their regular season?
Yeah.
Like but NYCFC is building a stadium in Queens. Yep. Like New York's a major market. You can't overlook like that. That's probably number one. LA and New York, you're probably going there first. Like, all right, how is this going to work in these cities first?
Yeah.
But you're right. Like Minnesota, you got to have, I mean, do they have a roof on that?
No, not where they play, I don't think. But I mean,
and this is why this is the hard part of all this. Like you're introducing this, like while it's going, but for legitimacy, and this does seem to be the game plan of making this more legitimized. First of all, MLS, you have so much more to do than this. Like, start with the player promotion and growth before we're talking about this crap. But anyway, like this will legitimize you. I think, and I'd like to see ESPN have football, basketball, soccer. Like, does that do that? You know what I mean? Maybe that does that.
That'd be great. Absolutely.
And you have more attention to sports now. Like you're not competing with the Masters, you know, followers. Like, first of all, that's too sporadic.
Yeah.
You know, the people that like baseball, I'm sorry, they don't like soccer. That's it. Soccer and baseball don't. Like, I like it. I do. But as most of my people that I play soccer with, they tell me, why do I like baseball? What is it? Like, I have to try to create and I don't.
Well, but you just said for yourself, you watched a game or two over the weekend. You watched Champions League games, and it was Masters weekend. The Masters is awesome. That's great. But you still watch a soccer game too.
Well, if I wasn't a New Yorker, I don't think that I would give a crap about baseball. I'll be straightforward.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? I just don't know. Like, if I'm big into the sports because the tribal component of being a New Yorker. Like, it just, New York sports just mean a lot to me. So I don't know, but I like it. I don't know. I think it's the right move.
I do too. I think it is too. So, MLS, Don Garber, when you're watching this, you got our vote. That's all we're going to say. Highlights for this week. Also, just in from our research team, I want to throw this out to you, Mike D.
Yeah.
Last week, the USL had their inaugural game on regular CBS TV. It was a record viewing 453,000 viewers watched San Antonio versus Phoenix Rising USL game on regular CBS.
What?
Kind of cool. Yes, last Sunday. Yep.
So is MLS the clear-cut league now?
No, I'm just saying I think that they're taking their different angles because of MLS and Apple TV. You know what I mean? So USL is trying to put a game or two every once in a while on regular CBS. So it's very well received. It's pretty awesome, to have 453,000 people watch the USL game on TV on Sunday.
You know what? And that's so interesting. That's the door that got opened when MLS went Apple.
Yeah, exactly. So with that, we got a highlight. It is not from the USL this week, nor the MLS. But with that, we have a highlight, and it does have an American flavor. We'll tell you later.
It's Cameron Carter-Vickers. Oh, what a goal! That is outstanding from the American. Hands on the head from Alistair Johnston. What a hit, what a goal.
That was Cameron Carter-Vickers, American center back for Celtic. What a goal. Not bad for your center back to be hitting one like that from 30 yards out. We caught you in a costume change. Hold on. All right, and we're back from commercial.
Bro, what? That was supposed to be a lot smoother than what happened. But I couldn't get these damn things on. Bro, can you show it one more time?
What a goal. One more time.
It's Cameron Carter-Vickers. Oh, what a goal! That is outstanding from the American. Hands on the head from Alistair Johnston. What a hit, what a goal!
There's your highlight, kids.
A pure strike moving forward like that, bending away from the keeper.
As a center back. American skills in Scotland.
The audacity of that strike. Like, bravo, kid.
Awesome. Man. Absolutely.
Awesome. I'll say this. Top 100 goal of all time?
I don't know. We don't have time to go through your list of top 100 goals tonight, but definitely one of the candidates for goals a week anywhere in any country. So definitely.
Is that up there with the Rice?
Declan Rice. Well, man, that's a tough call. Those were brilliant. And to do two of them in the same game.
The difference is the moment, right?
Yeah. In the Champions League quarterfinal.
But as far as skill level goes, what's harder?
Amazing
Ball moving or set? Ball moving is harder to hit. Sorry.
Yeah. We'll table that till we get to Backroom Eric. I know what he's going to say.
Well, all right.
But before we get to Backroom Eric, team of the week has to go to Liverpool. Here's why. Liverpool, I mean, just continuing to knock it out of the park, just to get your baseball reference in there here for the spring. They need 2 wins in their last 6 games to win the league. They're currently in first place by 13 points in the Premier League. They've only lost 2 league games the entire season, and they have Mo Salah on their team, the leading scorer and leading assists maker in Europe. So he's having an amazing season, and so are Liverpool. So shout out to Liverpool. They are the team of the week. I support United, but I have to give respect where respect is due. They're having an unbelievable season. So congratulations to Liverpool. I believe Backroom Eric just left the scene. He is abruptly left. So anyways, congratulations, Liverpool, our team of the week. And now for our favorite time of the show. First of all, our Spanish lesson. If you're just tuning in, we made kind of a New Year's resolution, Mike D, to work on our Spanish and try to improve it on a personal level, but to also help us with our work in soccer. Great teamwork. In Spanish is gran trabajo en equipo.
Gran trabajo and equipo. And equipo. Gran
Great
trabajo
teamwork.
and equipo.
Great teamwork. So I got to work on that one. I'm not going to lie. So
Gran trabajo and equipo.
with that, we'll go into our backroom staff. Backroom Eric reporting live.
Gran trabajo and equipo.
On location for Errores. There he is.
Hello, my friends.
Live on location.
First of all, can I just say how much I love the way that announcer yelled out Carter Vickers Cameron's name? Oh my gosh. That Scottish accent was so beautiful. Loved him.
Yeah.
Second of all, one of the major Aurores that we've had in this show so far. Michael, you need to apologize for your trash talk in order to pay off having the least winning bracket
in March Madness.
In March Madness.
Is the floor mine? Is this my time to shine?
Your time.
So, to Jay, to the rest of the Soccer Rebellion team, I would like to apologize for how poorly my decisions were in picking my bracket and thinking that I was anywhere near the caliber of intelligence of all of you that played in this league. I'm ugly. You're beautiful. You're smart. I'm dumb. Jay, congratulations.
All right, as long as you're willing to admit that.
Yeah, we appreciate it. Hey,
as long as you're willing to admit that, I appreciate that.
We all had a great time. We all had a great time doing so.
All right. Ben Rice, Michael, you're wondering who that is. That is the DH for the New York Yankees. He's playing wonderful. So that's who Ben Rice was.
Hey,
I would like to make here a public another on-air bet with my brother. Arsenal will win the Champions League, not PSG. So we can go ahead and throw that down. You can pick the winnings. You can tell me what that is later.
I'm not
but
going to do that because I want Arsenal to win. So okay, I want Arsenal and Barcelona. So it's fine.
Michael, you had mentioned Pulisic matched his career high in assists. The error, though, was that he's not at 10. He is at 11. That is his career high, 11 assists.
Nice. So we should be on that list, Jay.
Yep.
Yeah, research team.
Yeah. Not Jay. I'm not sure who you're paying for your research, but if you would have paid the backroom staff, you would have got the correct answer.
We're not paying anyone. That's the problem.
Dre mentioned how New York is behind Chicago, but he made a mistake because Red Bull NY is still in front of Chicago, so New York is still in front of Chicago. So just want to throw that out there, Dre. Quick question here, not totally a question, but did you guys see the Mbappe foul that got him sent off today? It was egregious.
Yes.
It was horrid. He literally just went and tacked the guy's shin for no reason.
Yeah.
Wait, Mbappe or Mbappe?
Yep. Mbappe.
Same guy, but he still got sent off.
Once for Sesame Street. Okay, I got
it. Just to throw my 2 cents in here, my opinion here on the MLS, I think they should play at the same time frame, but maybe go earlier matches so that they have the game times, not at the prime time as the other teams, but they can go ahead and match up as far as like same exact schedule, but your games are aired earlier in the day. I think it works with the transfer window, so you can get more money. So that's just my opinion there. Michael mentioned the NYFC getting the Queens when I wrote that down. But I wanted to throw one fun thing here at you, Jay, because Michael says he knows more about soccer than you.
Oh, jeez.
So I'm very interested in this.
Time for another
commercial. So I came up with 5 trivia questions, and I'm going to give you the first shot on every one of them, Jay.
Okay.
But I want to see who knows more about soccer.
Mm-hmm.
Number 1, Jay.
Pele.
In the history of the World Cup, there's been 2 World Cup trophies. Can you name what the first World Cup trophy was named?
Oh, easy.
What the first World Cup trophy was named?
Yep.
No.
Really?
No. What the trophy was named? No, I don't know.
Jules Rimet Trophy.
Michael's got it. Boom. 1 for Michael.
All right.
Okay. All right, Jay. This one, I think you got this one, Jay.
Is there a buzzer?
I think you got this one, Jay, here. What country has made an appearance 3 times in the World Cup finals, but never won it?
Come on, Jay.
Jay.
Holland? I don't know.
All right. Jay's got one. 1-1. All right. Yes. All right. The record for goals in the World Cup is 16. Who owns that record, Jay?
Ooh, got it. Easy.
Pele.
No, Klaus.
Michael's got it. 2-1, Jay. Come on. All right, here we go, Jay.
This feels like Celebrity Jeopardy.
Here we go, Jay. 3 people in the history of the World Cup have won a World Cup as a player and as a coach. Name those 3.
Maybe.
Beckenbauer?
Yeah.
Is he one?
Yeah.
An Italian guy
No. Well, maybe, yeah.
and a Spanish guy.
Zagala and Deschamps.
All right, Michael got 2. Jay, you got 1. So Michael's kicking your butt right now.
Didier Deschamps.
Yeah.
Last one, Jay. Come on. Borussia Dortmund on their seal has BVB.
Mm-hmm.
What does BVB mean?
Borussia von Bortmann. No, I don't know.
Michael, you want to take a shot?
Something Bavarian? Barusa or something?
Michael's got it. Balls Bavarian Borussia. It means ball game team. Borussia.
Ball game
So
team?
I guess Michael's right with all that trash talk he gave me. He knows more about soccer.
Jay, I never said that in my life.
I'm sure you probably say it every day, but I'm not
Never in my life, Jay.
I feel like I got darker as this thing got on. There we go. That's a better view of me.
Hey, we can only afford to send you in exotic locations. So,
well, I am right now in the Caribbean. It's great. It's wonderful.
Reporting live for straight from the training ground back to America. All right, thanks, guys. With that, next week is Easter. We'll see what we can do. We might have a taped recording for you, but everybody out there, have a great week. Thanks to Mike D and Eric. Till next time, Sunday Night Soccer.